Let's now bring in our panel. Former New York State Homeland Security Advisor Michael Balboni, retired FBI Special Agent John Iannarelli, and former NYPD Inspector and Fox News contributor Paul Morrow, who is live in Butler. And Paul, let's start with you. It's been a week. We've learned a lot. We've got a working theory about possibly that the rifle was hidden, and also about drones being flown by crooks possibly hours before the event. What can you tell us?
Well, in terms of the investigation, and let's switch into that mode, almost certainly what's going to happen here is there's going to be a review of policy. And this stuff can be very dry and interminable, but it's what matters. And they're going to look on Capitol Hill as they talk to Director Cheadle about whether or not Secret Service protocols were followed. The estimation was there was going to be 20,000 plus people here, plus 7,000 vehicles. They expected a big crowd in blazing heat. From what I can glean, there was about 80 law enforcement personnel deployed. The resources likely were not enough, and I can tell you that at least one township here offered resources and was rebuffed. Another town police department here, the Butler Town Police Department, I spoke directly to them. They were never called for help and could have provided help, and in fact would have. So they're going to be mapping the procedures that should have been in place. They're going to look at the operations plan to see if it accounted for what it's supposed to account for. Were the meetings held? Were the site surveys done? And then they're going to see where Director Cheadle, who was up in Aspen at the time for a conference, they're going to see if those protocols were followed by her team.
Well, that's a great point, Paul, and it is certainly going to be a heated confrontation with members of Congress and Director Cheadle on Monday. I think, John, you were an agent. You know that the agents that were on site must feel unbelievably frustrated that this has happened. But as the finger pointing goes on with both the number of resources they had and the protocols that were or weren't followed, how do you see it?
You know, Griff, Paul's exactly right. They obviously did not deploy enough resources, and a lot of mistakes appear to have been made. And tragically, it could have taken the president's life, and it took the life of another person. We need to take a look at this from the top down. How big was the perimeter they set up, and why was it cut off where it was when you have that building that they thought was important enough that they have law enforcement officers at, yet outside the perimeter that was established? We need to look at this immediately because there's a lot of events coming up, including the one in Michigan today.
One thing, Michael, that has really stood out to me, and we can show you the timeline we put together for you. You can see the hour here. It begins at 5:10 p.m. Crooks is first identified as this person of interest. And then, of course, just over an hour later, Crooks fires the weapon. You can see all these things. But before the shot, at 6:02, Trump takes the stage. Michael, why was he allowed to take that stage? How is that the case?
So I've gotten a chance to work on national security events, particularly in 2008 when Pope Benedict came to New York City, and the Secret Service took over everything. They were the ones who were literally giving instructions, telling everybody where they should be. I am getting more and more concerned about who this shooter is. The fact that he used a drone, the fact that he has encrypted accounts, the fact that he was on nobody's radar screen. In many ways, from a protective detail perspective, that is your worst case scenario. If someone comes out of the blue, is on nobody's radar screen, and then does these things, which seems to indicate some tradecraft. The thing about having somebody who just comes out of the blue is typically they're complete amateurs and they have no tradecraft whatsoever. But this guy looks like he's got pre-operational surveillance with a drone, and now doesn't have any fingerprints on or profile on social media, and is able to come in and almost take out the president. Boy, a lot of questions starting to emanate from this guy's behavior.
That's right, Michael, and you rightly point out this was a national special security event, an NSSE. There are nothing that ranks higher in terms of the amount of security that needs to be done in the case of an upcoming NSSE. And we mentioned the drone. Congressman Michael Waltz talked a little bit about those accounts. Paul, I want you to listen here to what Waltz had to say.
Other things are coming out, like the shooter had 3 encrypted accounts overseas. At the same time, we're having an Iranian plot. So, I mean, I think this is going to go much broader, much deeper, but the agents are going to hold her to account. Their lives on the line, and she was not giving the resources they were requesting.
Fox reached out. The FBI authorities are not waving us off of that statement by Waltz there. What do you make of it, Paul?
So I'm going to hold my fire a little bit on that because I don't think we have enough facts. There are apps that you can load, that anybody can load onto their phone to use for communication that are encrypted and are in fact held overseas. And so technically they would qualify as to what the FBI is saying. Many of us have them. So I don't know exactly what is meant by that, but I will say this. There is a paradigm that I saw very often doing counterterrorism work for 15 years where it's a very low-level operation, but it's very cheap, and it's essentially catfishing. An entity overseas gets to somebody in America who is leading a kind of slipping down life, gets into their head, and essentially weaponizes them. And you know what? At this point, and some of the stuff we're hearing, maybe you do have to consider it a possibility because somebody who's susceptible, who is apparently prone to depression, who was doing some of the online searches that we've heard about, he might have been a vulnerable target and somebody might have spun him up.
Well, unfortunately, we are, as best we know, it hasn't changed. Crooks' parents, and you were looking live there at their home, are cooperating. Maybe we learn more on that. John, let me ask you, if you were a member of Congress in Monday's hearing, what would you ask? What would be your question to Director Cheadle?
The number one question is, what are your limitations? Why are the resources not being deployed to keep important figures in our government safe? Have they asked for more resources? And are you reaching out to extend resources to numerous police agencies? We heard earlier that agencies had not been asked. Has the FBI been asked to assist with cases like this? There's a lot of different sources out there that we can use to keep people safe, and the Secret Service doesn't appear to be doing that.
And Michael, I'll give you the last word. I've just got about 10 seconds. What would you ask Cheadle?
And so why did you go to the Republican National Convention, but yet not answer the questions of senators who are going to be voting on your budget? Why are you taking this in your own personal way? This is so serious. This should be, nobody should be talking about this from the Secret Service except to congressional investigators, the Homeland Security Inspector General's office. This is too important to just show up and try to make this a political response. Completely inappropriate.
I suspect she will be asked about that. Michael Balboni, John Iannarelli, Paul Morrow, thank you very much for your insight and your time.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.